So hi everyone. So today we are going to start with the conclusion of this particular topic, insolvency and bankruptcy code, starting with section number 52 and 53. With this, the liquidation concept will also get completed. One section is still remaining called as a voluntary liquidation provision. Okay, so that also will be completed in this session. Three sections are there still to be covered, section number 52, 53 and last one 60 section is there. So once the sections are completed, complete IBC will be over. So before going into that, let's understand what is section 52 and 53. 52 will be talking about the position of secured creditors during the course of liquidation. Position of secured creditors during the course of liquidation. Section number 53 will be talking about distribution of assets. What do you mean by distribution of assets? Sell the assets and pay in a waterfall pattern. So who will come first, who will come next, all those things we need to look into. And after that we will do one illustration recently given in May 19 CA final exam, such that you will also understand not just theoretically, but we will also have a practical implication understanding on this concept of section 53, distribution of assets. Okay. First thing is section number 52 talking about secured creditors in liquidation. What will be the effect on the secured creditors? Just a 10 minutes issue, but still very important to understand. Okay. See here. Secured creditor in liquidation proceedings. Options available to secured creditor. A secured creditor in liquidation proceeding may, option 1, relinquish its security interest to the liquidation estate and receive the proceeds from the sale of assets by the liquidator in the manner specified in section 53. Second option, realize its security interest in the manner specified in this section. What if the secured creditor realizes security interest? Where the secured creditor realizes the security interest under clause B, second option of subsection number 1, he shall inform the liquidator of such security interest and identify the asset subject to which security interest to be realized. Next, duty of the liquidator. Before any security interest is realized by the secured creditor under this section, the liquidator shall verify such security interest and permit the secured creditor to realize only such security interest, the existence of which may be proved either by the records maintained in the information utility or any other means as may be specified by the board. Board means IBBI. Okay. First, take 2 minutes time. Read the Bail Act as it is, section number 52. Once we complete this, we will be starting with the analysis on what this section actually want to talk about. Just take a 1 minute or 2 minutes time and complete this fast. So shall we continue? See here now. So this chart will help you to understand this entire section number 52 in a easy format. First listen, later I will give time for you to copy. At the time you can do that. First one, creditors. Creditors are popularly categorized into two. Listen carefully, this section is talking about secured creditors. He is not telling financial, he is not telling operational. In financial there can be unsecured. Every financial need not be secured. In operational there can be secured. Every operation need not be unsecured. So therefore I use the word secured creditor. I never said the word financial or operational. That's what I want to tell always. Whenever we start reading the concept of insolvency code, people will generally form a false opinion on this particular code, saying that always the financial creditors will be given a higher bench than that of the operational creditors, and never. Operational creditors were kept aside from the committee of creditors just because of a good reason, that they form part of large number of group of people who can't be accommodated to conduct a meeting. That's reason number one. And reason number two is, already I said very clearly in the committee of creditors section number 21, where committee of creditors is formed, committee should be formed by such type of persons who can enter into some sacrifices, compromises, etc., which generally operational creditors will not accept. I told you, government has to get the taxes to be paid from the corporate debtor, means government will not sacrifice the collection of taxes. Am I clear? But collection of money can be sacrificed by the financial creditors. They can tell that our debentures are worth 100 crores, we will sacrifice 20%, pay me 80 crores. Like that they will tell. Government will not tell GST collection is there which will be amounting to 100 crores, we will waive 20 crores, pay remaining 80 crores. It will not tell. Government even don't have any power to tell like that. Clear everyone? So therefore operational creditors are not forming the part of committee because of a good reason. There is no discrimination in between financial creditors and operational creditors, to be very clear on the section. That means operational creditors are kept away from committee does not mean we are not concerned about the interest of operational creditors. Yes, operational creditors are also strictly governed by the code. This is a classic example. He is not telling any financial or operational. He is using the word secured creditor. It can be operational secured, it can be financial secured. Okay, and even in the distribution of assets, waterfall type, there also they will tell secured assets, secured creditors, unsecured creditors. He never use the word financial operational. That means what you need to understand, when it comes to distribution of liquidation assets, no discrimination between financial operational. The discrimination is only between secured and unsecured. Okay, so therefore creditors, financial, operational. Financial two types, secured, unsecured. Operational two types, secured, unsecured. Secured and unsecured here are governed by 52. Unsecured are not governed by section 52. We are going to read now. Okay. Now, secured creditors. In the section, if you have already read, you might have seen two words: relinquish the security interest, realizes security interest. Two words are used: relinquish, realize. Okay. Option 1, option 2 were given. I changed this. I made option 1 as 2 and 2 as 1 here for understanding. See here. First one, there is a secured creditor. He will be given with the two options. What are the two options? Secured creditor, whenever gives the loan to company, company will tell, or corporate debtor will tell, this asset is kept as a security for your loan. Okay. This asset is kept as a security for your loan. Okay. Now what will happen? Exactly a particular asset is kept as a security for the particular loan. Assets may change, because whenever there is a change in assets, companies has to inform ROC about a modification in the charge. Okay, on the date of liquidation, asset value will be equivalent, almost equal or higher, or sometimes even lower. But same asset need not be. If I tell land and building in Hyderabad is kept as a security, land and building will be there. It need not be in the same place. I can change that. I can sell this asset and keep the security of a same value in the same place or in a different place as well. Okay. So the first point is secured creditors are there. Secured creditors are given with two options. First one is forego realizing security interest and get the realization under section number 53. This is not 52, sorry, this is 53. 53 section we will read now later. Once after completion of 52 we will go to 53. So what is the idea of the law? Secured creditors are given with the two options. First thing, forego realizing security interest. That means already an asset is backed for your loan. Forego that, don't sell that asset. We will be paying you according to the waterfall pattern. Okay. Second one, No, sir, I don't want to go through that waterfall pattern because I may not get the full amount. I want to realize my security interest. You may get it out. Sir, I have a loan. Loan is backed with an asset. I can sell the asset and get back my loan amount. Which fool will forego and accept this? Many times this will only happen. There are two reasons. First reason is value of the asset on the date of sale to realize may not be equal to your value. So reason is two things are problematic here. First thing, whenever you go by the distribution under 53, definitely you will get the distributed amount. But if you want to go through realization of your security interest, you need to take that asset and you need to sell. You need to take that asset and you need to sell. Sell means it cannot be sold unless and until there is a ready buyer available. Ready buyer has to be checked either by liquidator or by secured creditor. If a ready buyer is not available, that will become a headache. You can't realize your security interest even years together. Am I clear or not? For example, person has given secured creditor like SBI has given a loan to the company. At the time of giving the loan, they said that this factory, building and land will be kept as a security. Okay, land will be kept as a security. Okay. At that time, the market value of that land is very high. Let's say like in Amravati in Andhra Pradesh. Land rates are very high, skyrocketing. At that time, they kept as a security. At the time, they have taken the loan. After giving the loan, 5 years have passed. Where is the capital? No one knows now. At this time, you can't expect the same market value to prevail at Amravati for the land today. But banks have given a loan, deeming that this fair market value would continue in the redeeming future. So with that intention, they might have given the loan. That means at the date on which liquidation proceedings have started, if I had to sell that, that may not fetch the same value. Am I clear? So that will be big headache. Second one, ready buyer may not be available for that land today. 5 years back it may have a good value, but today no one is interested to buy lands in Amravati. At that time, how can you get a ready buyer? So if ready buyers are available and then it will be something like luring to this particular party. Okay, it may be lucrative for the secured creditor to sell that particular asset and get back the value. So buyer found by liquidator. That means to realize means to sell that asset and get back their amount. There should be a buyer or not. That buyer is found by liquidator. By hook or crook, he found some party. In that case, for finding that buyer, liquidator might have incurred some cost or not. So that realized value, whatever you realize from that land, for example, land is kept as security, I sold, that amount came. From that, cost incurred by the liquidator should be deducted. That should be your net realizable value. Buyer is found by secured creditor. In this case, you will not get any cost, but no cost need to be paid. Your realized value will become the net realizable value on that asset. Clear? You realized. 3 situations will come again. You have to get 10 crores. You sold, you got 12 crores. Higher than the claim amount. You want to get 10 crores. You sold the land exactly or almost similar to that. You got an amount equal to claim. You want 10 crores of amount to be paid by the corporate debtor. You sold the asset and you got only 6 crores or 8 crores. Let's say like that. Lesser than the claim. What to do? In the second case, okay, no issue. Nothing to be done. In the first issue, the amount you realize is higher than the amount that required to be paid to you. In that case, return excess amount to the liquidator. In this case, a deficit is there na. For that deficit portion, you will be forming part of section 53. How it will be, we will see in section 53, not now. So this is the idea behind this section, section number 52. Secured creditors are given 2 options. If you are confident with finding a buyer and a good realizable value, go with the first option. Go with the first option here. In the notes, it will be the second option. Or else, don't go through this. Forego that realizing security interest. We will also include this security interest into liquidation estate. We will sell and distribute proportionally to everyone. Here you will get a quick amount. Immediately you will get realized. Am I clear, everyone? So this is the idea behind this concept of section number 52. That's what he said even in this section. Immediately, whenever secured creditor want to realize the security interest, not to forego that, immediately he need to inform the liquidator about the asset he want to sell and where the asset located. The details has to be given to the liquidator and liquidator shall realize that particular amount. Am I clear? But how much is the claim amount? How much is the claim amount that need to be maintained through the information utility or any other information? So this is the idea behind section number 52. Take 2 minutes time. Please copy down this. If you can remember this properly, enough for the examinations. So the next section is section number 53, distribution of assets. This is also called as a priority in payment of debts. Very easy. Okay, so totally there will be 8 steps in payment. Once you follow these 8 steps properly, same will be given in exam. You will also do one illustration given in one of the latest attempt, May 19. Okay, first one, proceeds from the sale of liquidation assets shall be distributed in the following order of priority and within such period and in such manner as may be specified, namely, simply assets are sold, sale of liquidation assets, assets forming part of the liquidation are sold, money came, it should be distributed to whom, to what amount, and who should be given a priority. For that 8 stages are given. Okay, first, insolvency resolution process cost and liquidation cost to be paid in full. Means what? Insolvency resolution process cost to continue CARP, whatever the costs that are incurred during CARP, raising interim finance, interest payments during that time, cost incurred to running as a going concern, everything will come into this. During CARP, what are the new costs that are incurred, everything will form part of insolvency resolution process cost. Next, any other liquidation cost to be paid in full, first category. Second one, 2 persons amount should be added. workmen dues for a period of 24 months preceding liquidation commencement date. That means take the liquidation commencement date, go back how many months? 24 months. 24 months la how much workman due is there, that much you need to take here. Sir, it is almost 35 months, sir. Then workman due totally for 35 months, let us say it is 10 lakh. 10 lakh into 24 by 35, like that you need to make. Okay, so 24 months amount only we need to take. And debts owed to secured creditor in the event such a secured creditor has a relinquished security. That means if you are not relinquishing the security interest but you are realizing, then you need not come into this particular fall. Directly you will take the amount and go away. If you are relinquishing the security interest, you are sacrificing or not, we will keep it as a stage 2 person. These two should be added together. This is stage number 2. After stage 1, if amount is not there, after stage 1, if the amount is not there, then completed. That's all. Even these people will not get the amount. If after that, after payment of this, if any amount is a remaining balance, then it will be paid to wages and unpaid dues owed to employees. Workmen is different, employees are different. Other than workmen for a period of how many months? 12 months. If it is workmen, go back 24 months. Okay. Next, financial debts owed to the unsecured creditors. I am not telling operational, I am not telling financial. Any unsecured creditor is there, for them this will be taken up. Number 5. Again, two things should be added together. Government dues, simply. But government dues how many years? 2 years preceding liquidation date. And debts owed to secured creditor for any amount unpaid following the enforcement of security interest. Sir, what this is? Simply, this will come into point number 5. Okay, what do you mean by this? For example, I enforced my security interest. That means realized my security interest. Just 10 minutes back I said, if your claim amount is higher than that of the sale value, that means I sold the asset. My claim is 10 crores. I sold the asset. I got only 8 crores. But my claim is how much? 10 crores. How much is the deficit? 2 crores. That 2 crores will form here. That's why it's called as a amount unpaid following the enforcement of security interest. Clear everyone? Next. Number 6. Any other debts and dues. Sir, what do you mean by any other debt and dues? In workmen, you have seen already 35 months I have a due. But only how much form part of the first priority? It form part of 24 months. Balance will come here. Like that every other debts, whatever the case may be, will come here. Preference shareholders, equity shareholders are partners of corporate debtor. This is how he said. Okay. So first observe all the 8 steps properly. We will do one numerical illustrations. With that you will get some practical clarity. Take a minute time. Observe all the 8 steps. Completed? Now, let us see one illustration. Like this, if you read, you can remember. But still, practically, if a question comes, then also you should be able to answer. Na? So, let us see one question that was given in the exam. See here. May 2019 attempt. Question came from the IBC in a practical format in this way. The following particulars related to Messrs. Star House Private Limited, which has gone into CIRP. Amount realized from the sale of liquidation of assets 7 lakhs. Okay. Secured creditors who relinquished the security interest. Means what? Who forego that will come into the second category, important persons. Unsecured financial creditors, okay, will form part of fourth stage. Income tax payable, cess payable, but only 2 years is allowed. So this is 2 years, this is only 1 year, both are allowed. Okay, this will form part of fifth stage. First stage, costs, insolvency and liquidation. Second stage, secured creditors and workmen. Third stage, employees, 1 year back, 12 months back. Fourth one will be unsecured. Fifth one will be government and any other, if there is any realization, enforcement of secured interest, unpaid amount. Sixth one will be any other dues or debts. Seventh one will be preference. Eighth one will be equity. In that way, you need to remember all the 8 stages. It was a Bayer Act. Bayer Act, I made it into step format. Don't simplify that. That's already simplified and made. So Bayer Act, he will give in subsections and clauses. I simplified that and made it as a steps. Okay. Secured creditor who has relinquished the security. Unsecured financial creditor stage 4. Income taxes cess stage 5. Fees payable to resolution professional first one. Expenses incurred by resolution professional in running the business as a going concern. Step number 1. Workman salary payable for a period of 30 months preceding. I will allow only for 24 in the stage number 2. Remaining any other dues, provided if the amount of balance is available, we will see the problem now. Lastly, equity shareholders, 5 lakh is there to pay. Now let us check the situations how they are. Okay. First I will give time for you. At least in a simplified format, write down somewhere. First one, liquidation value 7 lakh. Write down. Liquidation value 7 lakh. Liquidation value 7 lakh. Secured creditor relinquished. Secured creditors in the brackets write down relinquished 2,50,000. Secured creditors write down SCR. Okay, relinquished 2,50,000. Unsecured FC 2 lakh. Unsecured FC 2 lakhs. Unsecured FC 2 lakh. IT in the brackets write down 2 years 25,000. IT 2 years 25,000. Cess to SG. CG and SG both are covered by the section. Cess in the brackets write down 1 year 10,000. Simplify and write down 1 year 10,000. Fees to RP 37,500. Fees to RP 37,500. Fees to RP 37,500. Expenses of CIRP 17,500. Expenses of CIRP corporate insolvency resolution process 17,500. Workman salary bracket 30 months 1,50,000. So workman salary bracket 30 months 1,50,000. Equity 5 lakh. Equity 5 lakh. State the priority. 6 marks it was given. It will not take even 6 minutes if you observe the section properly. If you don't read the section, you just mug up that, it will not be complete even after 60 minutes. As simple as that. Written the concept? Okay. Now I have my answer. I am not going by the institute mode of answering this. For the sake of student clarity, I changed the pattern of writing the answer. Once you know the concept, in what way if I write, what difference will it make? So I have written like this. See here first. Stepwise waterfall format is there. Now I followed that. Sir, in practice we will take a piece of paper or a white paper. It's audit working paper type. Now we will draw a waterfall approach and we will do that. Like shown in the institute, we need not draw a pro forma, particulars, amount, we need not write. Examination you can write like that. For understanding, this will help you better than that. Okay. First thing. Stage number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stages are there. Let's check one by one. Stage 1. Liquidation and insolvency costs will be there. Set 37,500, 17,500. My balance of liquidation value is how much? 7 lakh. In 7 lakh in stage 1, I am knocking off 17,500 and 37,500. Yes or no? So both deducted from 7 lakh. For the second stage, balance is 6,45,000. 6,45,000. Second stage of workman 24 months and secured creditors relinquishing their security interest. Clear? So 1,50,000 is the total workman due. Only 24 months is allowed. This 1,50,000 is for 30 months. So 24 by 30 I will get 1,20,000 and relinquishing secured creditors 2,50,000. Add together it become 3,70,000. That's why I have written here workmen for 24 secured creditors who relinquished the interest. So deduct this from 6,45,000. For the third stage, only 2,75,000 is available. Third stage, who should be paid? Employees for 1 year, but nothing is given in the question. No employee dues. Fall into the next stage. Again, 2,75,000 balance is carry forward. Here, there are unsecured financial creditors worth 2 lakhs. Na? Pay this 2 lakhs. Sir, what if this is only 1,75,000? What will happen? Then I will pay 1,75,000 only to the unsecured creditors. All the others will not get even a single rupee from the liquidation value. Am I clear? Like that, you need to check here. Clear, everyone? Okay. Now, government dues. Where we are? Okay. Unsecured. Next stage. Still balance is there. 2,75,000 or 2 lakh knock off. 75,000 is the value. Central government 25,000. State government says 10,000. 75,000 minus 35,000 will be 40,000. Okay. Very, very important point is the sixth stage. Here I paid only for 24 months. Okay. It is 1,50,000. How much balance is there? Still 30,000 will be paid here. That means first take for 24 months. If no balance is available here, satisfy with this 1,20,000, distribute to all the workmen. Still balance is available, pay this balance of 30,000 to them. 40,000 minus 30,000 balance workmen dues, and balance is 10,000. Preference shareholders are not there in the company. Therefore, again the balance carry forward is 10,000. This 10,000 is paid to the equity and the balance is 0. In this way, the pattern will follow. That means answer, what is the amount available with us to pay to the equity? 10,000. Clear, everyone? So, balance available is 10,000. ఎలా చేస్తే ఉంది? Conclusion is same. Am I clear? He will do like this, but I don't want to do like this and complicate this issue unnecessarily. So just I have made a waterfall approach of the same concept. Please write down the solution. Please copy down. completed. So this is the way in which we completed the priority in the payment of debts. So these sections are already completed. Fast track resolution. Last section, section 59 is still there, that we need to cover. Just 10-15 minutes it will take to complete this not so great section. Easy only, but listen. First thing, what is this concept? Voluntary liquidation of corporate persons. Voluntary liquidation means they are not defaulted. No one made a complaint, but still they want to get liquidated. A chance is given through IBC. Okay. So let us see what is the procedure to go for a voluntary liquidation. Okay. Who can apply for voluntary liquidation? Applicant is a corporate person. Means a corporate person means a person who owes debt to any company. Okay. Corporate person is there. Corporate person, corporate debtor means a corporate person who owes debt to any person. And corporate person is means it includes a company, LLP, any other entity incorporated with a limited liability but does not include a financial service provider. Already we completed the beginning itself. So if the applicant is a corporate person, okay, next one, has not committed any default. If you commit default, you will come under compulsory liquidation by tribunal under the previous sections. This is a voluntary liquidation process where I am not a defaultee. Okay, what to do? Abide by the procedures of IBBI. The voluntary liquidation of corporate person under subsection number 1 shall meet the compliances specified by the board. Two things. Corporate person, no default. Then follow the IBBI guidelines for going for a liquidation process voluntarily. Special provisions with respect to liquidation of corporate person being a company. Corporate person can be LLP, cooperative society, any other entity incorporated with a limited liability. In that, if that corporate person is a company, then this procedure, additional procedure has to be followed. What is this additional procedure? Let's have a look. Without prejudice to subsection 2, voluntary liquidation proceedings of a corporate person registered as a company shall meet the following conditions, namely, how many conditions are there? A, B, C. How many conditions? 3 conditions are there. Very, very important question. Mark this important, not just this entire section. Mark it important. Very important for the exams. I guess this question to come in November 2020 or the next attempt as well. So, sir, you already said some questions for November 20. These are all in the hit list. Any one question can come in exam. So, voluntary liquidation, no default, corporate person. Others now only just follow the guidelines of IBBI. But if it is a company, additional procedures you need to follow. First one. A declaration from majority of directors. First one, declaration. From whom? Majority. Simple majority. 10 directors na 6. 12 na 7. Like that. So, a declaration from majority of directors of the company verified by an affidavit. That means declaration should be given via affidavit, saying that all the documents whatever we submitted are true and correct to the best of our knowledge. Like that they should tell. What they should give an affidavit? Majority of directors should sign on an affidavit saying that we have conducted the inquiry into the affairs of the company and we formed an opinion that either company has no debt at all, or even if it is having a debt, we are able to pay the debts. We are able to pay the debts by selling the assets in the voluntary liquidation process. That means we haven't defaulted. We have debt. Debt is not a problem. Are you able to pay the debt? Yes, we are able to pay the debt. Our debt is equal to 10 crores. Our assets are equal to 100 crores. Am I clear? That means when we sell the assets on liquidation, we will get a higher value. We can simply pay the debts. So they should give a declaration saying that we are not having any debt, or we have a debt but we are able to pay all the debts on liquidation sale. And they should also tell why you are suddenly liquidating voluntarily. We don't want to continue this company, that's all. Not to defraud any person, suddenly jump away from the creditors, or suddenly to cheat anyone, suddenly to cancel any contracts ongoing. Our intention is not like that. So you should give a declaration saying that majority of the directors should give a declaration saying that the company has no debts, or if it is having a debt, we are able to pay everything by the sale of assets and liquidation. Clear? And company is not being liquidated to defraud any person. First point completed. Okay. Declaration we already given that should have attachment of two things. What attachment? Now answer common sense. You said that assets will be equal to pay the debts, or assets are more than debt value. Yes or no? Assets book values may be higher. We need to know about book values. So we need to know about market values. Market values. That means a registered value or report should be attached to that, saying that realizable value of these assets are 100 crores, but debts are only 20 crores. We are able to pay. Along with that, audited financial statement of the company for the previous 2 years. Previous 2 years. If the company is incorporated just 1 year back, we can take that 1 year on. Next. Within 4 weeks of declaration, that means you gave a declaration, from that within 4 weeks, there shall be a special resolution of members of the company in a general meeting requiring the company to be liquidated voluntarily and appointing an insolvency professional to act as a liquidator, or resolution of the members of a company in a general meeting requiring the company to be liquidated voluntarily as a result of expiry of the period of its duration, if any, fixed by its articles, or an occurrence of any event in respect of which articles provide that company shall be dissolved, as the case may be, and appointing an insolvency professional to act as a liquidator. Sir, I didn't understand this. Which you didn't understand, that will only be different and important for the exam, because institute will also read the act in the way in which you read. Whatever they are feeling difficult, definitely they will also presume the student will feel this difficult. That will come in exam. That's why this question was already asked in exam. This point. Please read once again. Take a minute time. I will give a minute time. Please read that. Completed? Simply, first thing is voluntary liquidation will happen for two reasons. First one, the directors of the company has formed an opinion that it is better to close the company. In that case, they will close. Second reason is, when the company is incorporated, they will tell very clearly that this company is incorporated to have its existence only for 8 years, they said. Where they said? They said that clearly in the articles. Upon occurrence of that 8 years completion, immediately go to the general meeting and tell the shareholders via ordinary resolution. Special resolution is required in the first case. Via ordinary resolution, tell them that the event has occurred. What is the event that has occurred? Event is 8 years completion. Therefore, it's now the time for us to complete the liquidation process. So, because of that, you can do. That's reason number one. Second one, sometimes event may not be specified, but company life will be very less. Sir, companies will have a perpetual succession, sir. That will not work in case of joint venture companies. Joint venture companies will be incorporated as a company under Companies Act only for a specified purpose. Once that purpose is completed, that will be specified in the articles for which purpose they came. Once the purpose is completed, it is no more required for the members to continue that company. Therefore, first situation whatever you have seen is a special resolution concept. That means companies will go into liquidation by passing a special resolution, or sometimes event occurrences or joint ventures are there, automatically through articles they will get liquidated. At that time ordinary resolution is required. Am I clear? That ordinary resolution or special resolution, what I said, has to be passed within how many weeks? 4 weeks. Within 4 weeks. Next, the company shall notify the ROC and the board. Board means what board? SEBI? No. Now board of directors? No. IBBI. So the company shall notify ROC and the board about the resolution under subsection 3. Okay. Either special or ordinary, to liquidate the company within 7 days of such resolution or subsequent approval by the creditors, as the case may be. Effective date of voluntary liquidation. Subject to the approval of creditors under subsection number 3, the voluntary liquidation proceedings in respect of company shall be deemed to have commenced on the date on which resolution is passed. That means once you pass the resolution, from that date, if approved, from that date itself, resolution will take effect, liquidation will start. Liquidation will start. Okay. Application of section 35 to 53. The provisions of section 35 to 53 of chapter 3 or chapter 7 shall apply to the voluntary liquidation. These chapters are not applicable for examination, chapter 7 like that. So leave this point. Come to subsection number 7. Where the affairs of the corporate person have been completely wound up and the assets completely liquidated, the liquidator shall make an application for the dissolution. I told you na, process of liquidation will be called as a winding up. A process of winding up we will call as liquidation interchangeably. But after liquidation everything will be sold na, then the company will be said to be dissolved company. Duty of AA. AA shall, on application filed by the liquidator under subsection number 7 to dissolve, okay, pass an order of the corporate debtor to dissolve accordingly. Filing. Copy of an order under subsection number 8, that means dissolution order shall within 14 days from the date of order forwarded to the authority. Which authority? Adjudicating authority, sorry, ROC, with whom corporate person is registered. Send to the ROC with whom it was registered, saying that within 14 days you need to tell. Within 14 days. That means you send to the adjudicating authority being NCLT for liquidation. So they liquidated and they dissolved it. So information about the dissolution should be given by the particular copy shall be forwarded within 14 days to the ROC with whom this corporate person is registered. Remaining everything is same. So this is all about voluntary liquidation procedure under insolvency and bankruptcy code. Not so great rocket science is involved even here. Just a common sense concept that we need to understand, but very very important for the exam. If we can observe all the 3 classes whatever we completed in IBC at the last, these are only the easy ones. That's why I always said IBC la main points are already completed. Liquidation concepts are very easy. Liquidation concept itself with IBC is easy na. Normal winding up chapter, why it will be difficult? Same concepts, everything will be procedural. Just 25-26 sections, you will just move on into that particular concept. Read once enough for the examinations. Am I clear? So that will also we will discuss. I am not leaving the chapter winding up, but you need not give so much stress like other concepts and waste the time. That's the only thing I want to tell. Because in this 250-260 hours of our session, you cannot again spend 20-25 hours by reading each and every word in winding up, which is already discussed in insolvency code. Clear? Just 1.5 hour max 2 hours will complete the winding up chapter. With that everything will be over. Shall we close this? So with this we completed entire syllabus of insolvency and bankruptcy code. Thank you.